All right. I'm here with my wife, Heather. But before we get started, you're you're already laughing. We're going to hear brand new intro music. This is a preview of what we'll have in 2016, season 2 of the podcast, because this is the last episode of this year. So we have brand new intro music. So we're going to pause for a second, and we're going to splice in the intro music, but you just have to pretend that we're listening to it. All right?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's pause.
Okay.
This is Isaac Morehouse. Welcome to the podcast where we discuss education, entrepreneurship, big ideas, how to put them into practice in the real world, and above all, how to live free. Okay, that was a great song, wasn't it?
I liked it.
Well, okay.
It was okay.
We didn't just listen to it now, but you have heard
I've heard it before, and I like it, but I don't do well with change.
See, that's not a very strong endorsement, considering Tim Levan Miller, who was on this show before, the accountant musician.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I said I don't do well with change.
Okay, well, Tim made that song specifically for this podcast, because before, I have my inspirational, and everyone was like, "Yeah, that's kind of weird. It sounds like a stock inspirational whatever." So
I didn't love that at first, but now I'm used to that.
Well, you'll get used to this too, and then you'll eventually love it.
Yeah.
So thank you, Tim Levan Miller, for the new intro music. We also have new transition music you'll be hearing in future episodes, because again, next year you will start to see another new thing. We have some sponsors of the show. And this episode is also being sponsored. Heather, do you know who our sponsors are?
I think one is Fee.
That
right?
That is correct.
Yay!
The Foundation for Economic Education, and the other is Praxis, of course.
Well, of course, I should have said that first.
So this is here's where we're gonna do the ad for the sponsors. But I want you to help me. So Fee, the Foundation for Economic Education.
Oh, I was hoping you'd let me say it.
Oh,
I remembered.
Sorry. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. What does FEE stand for?
The Foundation for Economic Education.
That's right. Who is the founder of FEE, Heather?
Leonard Reed. No.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Well, because Larry Reed, Leonard Reed, sometimes
yes, the
I get
current
them
president
confused.
is Larry Reed.
I know
no
the
relation.
difference. But...
Okay, so who do you think should attend a FEE seminar, and why would they want to attend one?
Oh, I don't remember the core mission of FEE. So I don't really know their...
Who is one of the faculty members at these seminars?
I don't know.
Me?
Oh, you.
You don't need to know anything else.
See, I'm here
That's why people should go.
I'm here to keep you humble, Isaac.
I don't want to be kept humble.
But the universe knows it's good.
This was a bad idea. All right, so the Foundation for Economic Education is one of the sponsors.
Time for a drink of wine.
Yes. What are you drinking there, by the way?
This is a Cabernet Merlot blend from my favorite store, Costco.
All I know is it was in a very large bottle, which usually means high quality, right?
Oh, of course, quantity.
Yeah, and my whiskey, you can hear the ice.
Wait, ding!
This was in a plastic container, Jim Beam, I believe.
Even better quality.
Oh, look we peaked the megahertz or something when we it got
we
too
made
loud.
Too much noise.
All right, this is like Bob and Doug McKenzie.
I know.
Okay,
talking real quality.
Let me get to FEE here.
Sorry.
FEE is sponsoring, and if you've never been to a seminar, if you're a high school student or a college student, it is an amazing experience. Usually about 3 days. They have some shorter ones, but the cool thing about it is everybody who's there wants to be there, and they're interested in engaging in the ideas of economics, economic thinking. Check out fee.org/seminars. If you apply to go to one, put in there that you heard about it on the Isaac Morehouse podcast. I don't know what that will do. They'll give you some sort of special treatment. Hopefully they won't reject you right away. And then, of course, the other sponsor is Praxis, the company that I founded, and it's a company, it's a 1-year program for young people in the 18 to 25 range where you get a chance to work with entrepreneurs and learn what it's like to run a business. There's coaching, there's a professional development curriculum, very intensive program. Now, you may be asking, Isaac, isn't it, you were gonna ask this, weren't you? Isaac, isn't it a conflict of interest for you? You're a faculty member at FEE. Praxis is your own company. How could you be promoting them You know, isn't there some sort of conflict?
You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, see, I knew you were thinking that. There is no conflict of interest. In fact, nothing could be more aligned with my interests. My interests are in the ideas of liberty, the ideas of freedom, in living a freer life, in self-directed learning, in entrepreneurship, and that's what Fee and that's what Praxis are all about. So to me, that's what this show is all about, and I couldn't think of better sponsors. Okay, transition music now from the sponsor portion of the show. Ready?
Yes, listening.
What do you think of the transition music?
Bliss.
Have you actually ever heard it?
Inspiration.
Because we just paused and we're splicing it in. I don't think you've ever heard the it's a little bit funkier.
I imagined it and it sounded amazing in my head.
All right, so this episode, now Heather, I've been wanting to bring you on. This is my wife, Heather. Why is she here?
Hello.
For many reasons, but mostly because she's the wind beneath my wings. Why are you laughing? I'm trying to be romantic.
Never
here.
were truer words spoken.
That's right. But I've been wanting to interview you on the show for a while because I find that it's just like with writing, you write about what you know, and that's usually the best writing. And on this podcast, some of the most interesting and most enjoyable episodes have been people that I know well, even if they're not famous people, like our son, NL. His was a great episode. Still the most listened to episode thus far this year in 2015.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Obviously, my brother Levi and several people, TK Coleman, people that I know well. And I've wanted to bring you on for a while, and you've sort of balked at it.
Yeah, I've tried to delay. I don't do well under pressure.
That's
I
not
don't
true.
do well under pressure.
You've got 3 kids. You're always under pressure, and you manage. I mean...
Maybe it's because you want me to, and that makes me want to...
Oh, because I want you to do the podcast. You want to rebel against it?
Yeah, I think subconsciously, yeah.
So do you feel pressured to be here right now?
Yeah, I feel nervous. I'm having to focus on my words.
Because maybe that's because of the giant bottle of cheap wine. I don't know.
No, we opened that tonight.
Okay, so you haven't had... There's no alcohol impact here.
Yeah, uninvolved.
I can vouch for that. No, so I mean, And then I pitched to you, how about I do a year in review? I want to do just the last episode of the year. What if you just joined me for that one? And you said, okay, that actually sounds fun.
Yeah, I was excited, but then tonight I felt nervous. I don't know why. Scrutiny or something.
We might have to,
I don't know what you're going to ask.
We might have to dig deeper and figure out what the source of the anxiety is.
Yeah, you didn't give me a list of topics ahead of time.
Well, because I don't have one. This is all I want to do is really review what's happened this year.
Okay.
And reflect and look forward to next year. So in many ways, now starting with the podcast itself, I was just looking at this. I launched the very first episode was March 30th. And we have done 43 regular episodes, 19 special episodes, which are like Ask Isaac episodes or special promo
prolific.
episodes. And we've had 32 different guests on. That's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, you're productive.
So so I've been writing for many, many years, and you almost never have read things that I write. And I'm not saying that as an insult. I'm used to that. It's okay.
I'm a devoted wife.
It's actually good though, because it reminds me that, when I'm in writing something, or if people are like, hey, that was a nice piece you wrote, that I exit that world and I'm in a real world where you're just like, whatever, you just write. Yeah, that's part of what you do. Who cares?
I used to say, like, oh, I'm going to read everything you... Yeah, no, I never have. Well, no, I've read a few and then it tapers off.
But I have been amazed. I never pushed you. I never said, hey, listen to the podcast. Check it out.
Yeah.
But you have listened to a number of episodes.
Yeah, probably 80%. I'm really interested.
Is there something about the format that you like better than writing, or what made you decide to listen to it, and what do you like or dislike about it?
Well, I suppose it's partly practical. I can have headphones on and listen while I'm, going about my day,
Milking
folding laundry. Goats. Exactly. Yeah, a normal part of a housewife's day.
We don't really have goats.
But I would like to. That sounds fun.
Okay, you sprung this on me. This was not fair.
No, it's practical, but I can't really sit and read in a corner of the house while the kids are causing mayhem, but I can listen.
So, as a listener of this distinguished podcast, how many episodes would you say you've listened to?
Well, how many did you see you have total?
Well, if you count the special episodes, I have 62 episodes.
I want to say I've listened to probably 45, but since I tend to exaggerate, I bet I've listened to at least half.
So probably at least
like
9. No, I'm just kidding.
No, probably at least 30.
Wow. And, I didn't know you'd listen to that many.
Yeah, I try to catch up every few days.
Okay, so give me the highlights, best and worst. Which episodes were you like, that could have used some work, and which, without of course insulting any of our wonderful guests, and which have been the ones that are like, okay, that's where this show is in its groove. Because I'm really trying to learn. I don't know. I just started this thing, and I feel sometimes like I'm kind of like, okay, when I do more of this, it's better. When I do less of that, but I don't even know. So I'm curious from your standpoint as a listener, what are the parts where you're most enjoying it and you're like, yeah, I like it when the show goes like this?
Okay, well, I don't want to get into specific guests, but I would say those episodes that I found to be a little bit drier were those that you seemed to geek out more about. Maybe the guests that you were just like nerding out, excited to have on.
So you're telling me
you and the guest were just so into the nitty gritty that I tended to get a little bored.
So you're telling me to bring on guests that I don't really care about and I'm not interested in.
That's a sad
No,
conclusion.
No, I know.
No.
No, I know what you mean. So guests where if it's clear that I'm very familiar with their work, I'm uniquely interested in it.
Yeah, maybe it becomes a little too niche.
We get
for
into
your
the
audience.
weeds.
Yeah, and that can be great, but I think that conflicts with one of the main things I like about your podcast, which is that there's such variety. Your podcast is eclectic, and that's why I come to it out of interest and not just devotion as a wife. I like what you have to say. So when you get sort of into the nerddom, I'm a little like, it's okay. You know what I mean?
All right. No, yeah. That's good. That's actually, that's good. That's fair. It is a variety show, fair. Which is why when you finally get goats, we will bring goats on the show.
Okay.
Well, like a true variety
and chickens. Show. I'm thinking about chickens, but I don't think our HOA would be cool with that.
Well, we're renters too. How
I know.
Are we gonna get our landlord?
I know. I'm conflicted.
I have no interest in goats or chickens, except for on my plate.
I knew you were going to say that. You eat them.
All right. So, first, before we do a little bit more chit-chatting, tell us about yourself.
Myself?
So the question I like to ask people all the time, as you may or may not know, if you ever read my stuff, you would know.
Look at this is your platform for describing your bitterness?
Instead of where are you from, what's your job, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is so based on external circumstances or titles. And I like to ask, what's your story? Mm-hmm. So what's your story?
Oh, see, that right there is why I was so nervous to be a guest. I don't know how to describe myself. Probably partly because we got married and had kids so young that I've been a mom for so long. It's hard to describe my personality apart from that. But I'll start with that. We've been married for 12 years. We have 3 kids. The oldest is 10 and a half, so we're well into parenthood. But I'm also really into things like history. We live here in Charleston, and I love the local history. I love exploring plantations, especially ruins. I love to be outside. I love to wander in the woods. I love homeschooling our kids in a really free and wild manner. We really unschool. I am an artist, but I haven't really been dabbling in that for 10 years. I cook a lot. I don't really clean a whole lot. I like to run. I like yoga. I don't know. What else? What am I missing?
You're a great cook. Okay,
thanks.
So...
yeah, you like my soup.
Every superhero has an origin story.
Ooh.
So
am I a superhero?
Of course you are.
Oh, what a compliment.
I mean, how else could you manage my ego? NL, who is on this podcast, clearly he doesn't have a shortage of ego.
True.
Somehow.
Very true.
You lived through all this. So what's your origin story? I mean, Where are you from? What are you?
Oh my
What, I mean,
God.
Okay, when you were.
That's too much pressure.
All right. How about this? We'll make it easier. Because we don't need all the biographical. I was born in a small town.
I can get caught up in that.
Yes.
I don't know.
So, when you were a young girl, what you're doing now, if you could see your current life right now, what do you think little girl Heather would have thought of this?
Oh, little girl Heather would have been impressed with the family and household that I run. I think little girl Heather would have been in awe of adult Heather, because all little girls are. Little girls are in awe of women. Little girl Heather would have been disappointed that I'm not living out Ivanhoe, that old maidens and knights story, because that's really all I dreamt of. Knights and maidens and castles and all that stuff.
So would you say I'm your knight in shining armor?
No, I would never say that.
What? Not even symbolically?
Hey.
So okay. So you.
Do you need me to say yes?
So you used,
yes.
So you used to dream about some hero. Yeah, look at what you did to the audio. You don't need to get that close to the mic.
Too powerful.
So you used to dream about some heroic, brave man.
Yeah, it's
swooping you up and you two going on adventures, and you're telling me that there's nothing about me that symbolizes any of that?
Well, no, you are. You're definitely rogue and rebel. But look about us. Look at our suburban life.
What? This isn't a castle? Come on. Right.
Yeah, no, it was all those old Disney classic reruns. I watched too much of it.
You mean so you wish you were like with anthropomorphic animals? Oh, you mean like non-animated, like the really old...
Yeah,
that was too sophisticated for me as a child.
Captain Blood, Errol Flynn.
Oh no, I did watch Captain Blood.
Yeah, you watched that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
we like Swiss Family Robinson. That's not Knights and Castles.
No, I mean, I grew up on that steady
kind of an
diet.
epic journey.
Fritz Ernst. Swiss Family. I could probably quote the whole movie. The thing about Swiss
Treasure
Family
Island?
Robinson.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Treasure Island.
Yeah,
yes.
we loved the same thing.
Which version though?
Oh,
Treasure Island.
Well, I grew up on the book first,
yes.
which is of course awesome. But then the TV version with Christian Bale and Charlton Heston as Captain.
See, now I grew up on the other TV version with it was like a Disney version. It was a Disney version. It wasn't Charlton Heston, and I had never seen the Charlton Heston version until you and I started dating.
Well, you are younger than I am.
By 2 years.
Yeah, that's enough when you're young.
Okay, so what else has changed this year? What do you think when you think back on 2015? The kids, the family, Praxis, all the things that we are a part of. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts? Any reflections on the year? Boy,
I got to think about that for a minute.
Did you know I published 2 books this year? And
you did?
And 365 blog posts.
I said before you're highly prolific.
I'm not looking for compliments. I was just kidding. Truly kidding.
Yes.
But seriously.
Good job.
Tell me you love me.
This is so horrible. You have to delete this whole thing.
No, we're not. This is gold. This is gold. Okay.
I'm so uncomfortable. I think, honestly, you know how I am. I have very short-term memory, and I live very much in the moment. I tend to forget what we've done.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Hush you. But I'm really just thinking more about in the next couple months. I think that because earlier this year, when 2015 was young, we sort of looked at the year and decided to travel. I really just have preeminent in my mind is our travel to Ecuador in 2016.
Oh, you're teasing what's coming next.
Oh, were you going to talk about that?
We'll just transition to that
next. Do that now.
Yeah, because I was going to reflect on 2015 and then talk about what comes.
Well, part of it's been the prep for that.
What comes in store. Well, okay, before we get to what's new in 2016.
Okay.
Briefly.
Ask me specific questions.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Help me out here. Help me help you. Okay, so...
Is that from Jerry Maguire?
Well done, yes.
Well done?
Yes, it is. Well, because usually I always remember movie lines, and you don't, but you remember every actor.
Like you remember lyrics.
Every actor's face. Yeah. It'll be like some extra
I'm
who's
like a savant about actors.
who's like dead civilian number 35, and you're like, oh, that's so and so from BBC. Because that's in fairness, there are only like 9 BBC actors. Okay, so there's a couple things about our life that are fairly unusual to most people, and unusual even for us maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So we unschool our kids.
Right.
You don't go to work. You're home with the kids.
Right.
Which I would argue is much, much more difficult than going into an office somewhere.
Depends.
I run a business, but I mostly work from home. I travel quite a bit, but sometimes you guys even come with me on my travel occasionally. But I travel a fair amount, and a couple years ago I used to travel a lot, and you were here by yourself with the kids. But I'm working from home in the home office, which is like a narrow area next to the bed.
4x4 area of our bedroom.
Yes. I got booted out of my real office because our girls wanted their own rooms, and, of course we obliged. So what is that like? How would you describe being, having a husband who works from home, who's running a business, having kids who are unschooled, and, that kind of experience? I mean, we have a lot of flexibility with our time, but what are the biggest struggles of that for you?
Well, the biggest struggles are learning to live in close proximity with other humans and dynamic humans that really don't jump when you tell them to jump, and I think that's great. That's what we want, but it's also really hard. So all of our kids have a strong will. You and I have a strong will, and getting 5 people to live peacefully together is sort of the ultimate challenge. And I also feel like if we can do that, sort of like the ultimate goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you feel like you spend your days saying, oh, I can't wait till this is done, and then something more enjoyable will occur, or like I'm working towards some future goal? Or do you feel like you're sort of living in the moment?
I feel like I've tended to say to myself, if only I can get through this phase, then things will be easier. But I actually feel like that's sort of detrimental. Yeah, I could use a little dose of long-term planning, but I kind of feel like what's best for me is to just enjoy being in the moment and not to stress about, this next phase or getting through this next phase. Just sort of being here in the now with our kids, not stressing about where they are, and just kind of just chilling, which is very, very hard. Very, very hard with kids, So
what do you love about the lifestyle that we've very sort of consciously chosen and carved out for ourselves? What do you love about it?
I love the spontaneity, and it can absolutely stress me out. The flip side of spontaneity is that the logistics of just getting out of the house are really hard. Really, really hard. We'll go to leave and I'll realize, oh, the girls are barely dressed and their hair isn't done. And so it takes us an hour to get out. But we are masters of our own time. We can just get up and go for a walk in the woods whenever we want. And everyone's happy for having gotten out. I love that. And everybody else loves it. They may not realize it at the time, but we get out and everyone's happy. It's great. I love it. We are not beholden to anyone else's time frame. It's all us as a family unit. What works for us.
You joked about this house not being a castle or whatever, and I'm not at all like disagreeing or downplaying that, but it is absolutely a beautiful house. And I at the end of the year, usually at the end of every year, I start to sort of reflect not only on the past year, but just the past in general. Because typically I am not a very nostalgic person who's reflecting on the past. I'm very much like, yeah, whatever, it's done, let's move on. I'm just very, very forward looking. But I usually like to, around the end of the year, New Year's time, start to think back of the previous year and then sort of previous years before that and jump back 5 years, 10 years. And I was just thinking recently about, we got married so young. I mean, we were dirt poor. I mean, we had no money.
We didn't have jobs when we got married.
We came back from our honeymoon and we had a mortgage because I had bought a house. I was 19 and I had a house. But I had the business that Levi and I, my brother and I had started. We had basically folded up like 2 weeks before our wedding. So we go on our honeymoon. We come back. Neither of us have jobs.
Right.
And you were still finishing school. You were in college. And we're just like, well, we had this little crafty little house that had all kinds of issues and problems. It was probably like 900 square feet. It was tiny.
Yeah, it was small.
And, but it was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was okay. And then when we moved to Lansing, the place we lived there.
It was like half as big.
Those were dark days.
It was tough.
What was it, 3 months, 6 months? Yeah,
yep.
Before we moved to a decent apartment. We were in this little upstairs apartment. It was the upstairs like section of a house, and the house right next to us with a chain link fence there was some kind of drug dealing, something going on. And they had these big, massive dogs.
Huge Rottweilers.
Yeah, Heather was pregnant, and it was in the middle of the winter, and they would jump up against, even moving there. Remember that when we moved, it was so snowy, and I had a mattress on top of the truck.
Yeah, your truck went,
and it spun out, and
it went off
the highway.
Down the ditch into the freeway.
Oh, you
remember that?
It was ridiculous. Oh, I couldn't forget. It was crazy. But
it was scary.
And in this little apartment, it was like side of the building, so the slope of the roof was, you could see it was like an interior, the room had a sloped ceiling to it. A couple of the rooms did, including the bathroom. So the bathroom was so small.
Yeah.
It had this big cast iron tub, which was cool, but the roof was sloped so low, there was no room for a shower. So there was a hose hooked up to the faucet. And I would get it, but I was working in the state legislature, so I had to wear a suit every day. So I would get up to shower and then put on my suit and go in and pretend to be like a professional. And I would be crunched down in the bathtub with a hose, showering myself like in the fetal position, like with a hose trying to reach it over my head.
Yeah, but wearing the suit was worse than the shower for you, right?
That is true. I would do cold showers every day if it meant I never had to wear a suit, which is the real reason I started a business.
Yeah, there we go. Truth, finally.
But I mean, I just remember there were moments in there that were just like those were kind of dark days in some ways. Like at the time they weren't, but just looking back, man, that was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard. That was a hard pregnancy. You had preeclampsia and everything. And just,
right.
and thinking about how far we've come now, the things that
seem like a big deal now.
Yeah, the things that seem like a big deal now, on the one hand, it only ever ratchets up, right? So my stresses and struggles. What do you mean,
like in terms of responsibility?
Well, yeah, in terms of the game.
The scope of what a big deal is.
Yes, so on the one hand, like I never worry about, pulling a muscle in the shower because I'm trying to shower with a hose.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my big stress, right?
Yeah,
or, oh no,
perspective.
I can't afford a new tie, so I have to go to St. Vincent de Paul and buy a $2 tie. That was the things I stressed about. Now, I'm stressing about running a company. What if the company struggles and I have to fire an employee? What if I ruin someone's life, right? That's the stakes go up. Now, on the one hand, our life is very much more comfortable. It's the life we want. We've worked hard to get in a beautiful place that we love. We're 15 minutes from the beach. But on the other hand, like the stakes are really high too.
Yeah, definitely.
And so like I think where we are now, even though all the things that are nice and creature comforts that we wish we would have had then, all the responsibility that comes with it, I don't think we would have been ready for.
Definitely. It's like life is, you have a capacity as you get older, your family gets bigger, you have more responsibility in every way, not just family, but like your business. Life is just fuller. And like you said, it can go either way. There's so much more that could happen in either direction than you could ever conceive when you're younger, when you have less under your umbrella of responsibility. I don't think I could even have conceived of it then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's good. It's really weird. I don't think I ever would have understood this being younger, that it's not bad. I think I would have felt like the weight of this sort of, burden's not the right word, but just fullness, the weight of it would have seemed like a bad thing. It's not. It's good. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
It's good and vibrant.
It's what you
and
want. I mean,
full and heavy at the same time.
You want to be growing and making progress, and that means new challenges, and those challenges will expand. But it's easy sort of to envy people in a further ahead on the path than you are, and assume that you wish you were in their position. But you really...
I know I did.
You can't have it handed to you. You have to grow into the type of person who can handle the rewards, but also the responsibilities that come with that kind of life.
Definitely.
Okay, so the future, which is my favorite topic. Enough of the past. Enough of this wishy-washy bull crap. So 2016 what does it have in store? Well, I already mentioned a few things for the podcast. We got this great new intro music. Thank you, TimLevanMiller.com. And we have sponsors, fee, Praxis, potentially more in the future. If you want to sponsor the show, give me a call. And you don't like that voice, do you? Hey, I tell you what.
Your used car salesman voice.
Sometimes you got to flip into that. And we're going to be doing, obviously, more new episodes of the show. But for us, and there's a lot going on with Praxis. We're going to be rolling out, I can't give anything away yet.
Ooh,
but we're going to
secrets.
be rolling out some new products, hitting some sort of expanded markets. Things are really exciting in 2016. But for us as a family, Heather, why don't you tell them the big news?
Okay. So in February, usually we go through the doldrums of winter, which here in South Carolina, that's really nothing compared to Michigan where we're from. But we decided to spend a good portion of our winter in Ecuador. And I'm excited, but as the time draws nigh, I'm getting more and more nervous.
Yeah, we're going to be there
6 weeks.
Early February to mid-March. It's going to
Yep.
be about 5.5 weeks in Mompiche,
Yes.
Ecuador. And, okay, how did we decide to do this? How did this come about?
Oh, man. It was probably March or April. And you definitely spearheaded this, but I think we'd both been wanting to mix things up a bit. And you just said, hey, we homeschool. I work from home. Why aren't we traveling more? Right?
Yeah.
So we started the search we decided, let's go somewhere. And Isaac really started looking for where to go. And pulled up Airbnb and just sort of looked all over. And we decided on Ecuador for various reasons.
Yeah, I mean, for me, well, there's a couple things. I think we both independently, or maybe I told you to listen to it after I listened to it. I'm not sure. But we were both, listening on and off to the Tim Ferriss podcast. Mm-hmm. And I listened to an episode where he read an excerpt from the book Vagabonding by Rolf Potts. Uh-huh. And I ordered the book. I still haven't read the book, but the excerpt.
I ordered the book.
And
Let it be known.
But it's on my Amazon Prime account. My name was on the shipping label.
A little marital discord for you.
Fine, you ordered the book. Whatever. So I heard that episode and it just sort of occurred to me because we're not in a position where we can afford to travel all the time. Let's take a week and take our family on a cruise. Let's go here. We can't visit a bunch of places together. Occasionally if I'm speaking somewhere within driving distance, we all went to Pittsburgh together as a family for a few days. If it's very low cost, we can kind of do that, but we can't take a lot of trips.
Right. It's fun, but it's not exotic.
Yeah. And I also thought, I don't want to just take our kids to a vacation. I want them to experience while they're young and while the cost is relatively low for us. Again, there's no school that they're missing. There's no, there's not any big, we've got internet. So it's a time of the year where I don't do a lot of travel and speaking anyway. We can make this work, right. Not without some sacrifices, but we can do it. I want them to experience actually living somewhere, normal everyday life, not touristy stuff where you go see the sights and then you come home, where you're just get up in the morning and do your normal stuff, whatever unschoolers do in a normal day, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I still don't really know. None of us really know what they're up to. But so, Heather, I kind of made my pitch and Heather was like, I'm with you. I knew right away. Usually when I pitch around stuff, I can tell if it's it didn't resonate. But I knew that it resonated with
definitely.
you. That it wasn't, I was not at all forcing you or dragging you.
I have to say, I definitely felt nervous, but I knew in my gut, this is right. This is great.
When I said 2 months, you said 1 month. So we settled on 6 weeks.
We went back and
forth.
We
went a little bit less than 6 weeks. But the cool thing about it was, doing an Airbnb and then being able to put our house on Airbnb on the flip side and the low cost of groceries and things while we're there. It's
very doable.
The net cost is very, very low.
Definitely.
I mean, it's close to zero. I mean, it could be zero if you really worked hard at it. We'll pay something. But so this is going to be a really, really cool experience for us. So I'm all excited. We found a place. It looks like a looks like a Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah, I was just going to
house.
say, we talked about that earlier. I mentioned that earlier. It came full circle.
You know what? Nothing happens
We're
on accident.
We're staying in this really cool bamboo Swiss Family Robinson style house in Mompiche, Ecuador.
Now, the
a
house...
surfing/fishing village.
The house
That's
does
cool.
not have air conditioning.
Yeah, I know. It has mosquito netting, though.
Yeah, it has mosquito netting. You know, they do use the dollar, so there's not a lot of difficulty with exchanging money or whatever. But,
Right.
you know, it's not a lot of people there speak English.
Right.
Are you scared?
Yeah, I am. But it's not... I can see the difference in my mind. It's not fear for safety. It's fear of discomfort.
Yeah.
So I can tell in my gut it's going to be a good thing. And, you know, I think that you are more in touch with your need for adventure. For me, this is about humanizing the world for our kids. I want our kids to see that there's more than America out there.
America. It's only 2 syllables. Come on.
Yeah, I said it wrong.
But we take them to Walmart sometimes. It's a cultural experience.
But that's America.
I know.
That is.
Right.
That's the epitome of
pure
America. So I'm excited for this. In that sense.
Yeah, so I mean
But I am definitely nervous. Definitely.
Well, and the biggest thing for me is like the owner of the home that we're renting, it's a couple, and one of them is from Mompiche, but one of them is from...
Right, she's from Oregon.
From the U.S., right?
Yeah.
And she, which is really nice, and they live in the village as far as I know, so that's like really nice for us because they can share some of that local knowledge and help us figure out things. But she said, they have high-speed internet, and she sent me the data on how many megabytes per second or whatever, and I compared it to our internet here at home, which is Comcast, which is like...
Nobody cares about our megabytes per second.
No, but this matters, and it was the same. And I ran a test here, and it was the same. So I was like, okay, I can do all my work. I can record podcasts. I do a lot of Skype meetings.
Okay.
That's important, right?
Point.
I can't take 5.5 weeks off of work. I've got to be...
The point is to transfer life to this new location.
But to me, that's the only thing I'm worried about. Like, what if the internet is unreliable? Like,
you think about this? You're worried about this?
All the time. I'm totally worried about it. Yeah.
You don't let on.
Well, I don't want you to get more worried because you're worried about other things. You think that we're all going to get like dengue fever or something.
Yeah,
or what are
typhoid.
What are the things that you used to die of?
All the stuff on the Oregon Trail.
Yes. See, you just said she's from Oregon.
Yes.
There is something magical
it feels like
happening.
This is all fitting
I should
together
have you on
perfectly.
every episode. You should be my co-host.
Remember
we were talking to the Praxis participant?
Let's talk about this.
Ryan, and he co-hosts the show. Ryan Ferguson is a Praxis participant, and he has a podcast with his girlfriend that they co-host. Mm-hmm. And I thought, maybe Heather should be my co-host. I don't know.
Look at you dreaming big.
Yeah, No, but so the Oregon Trail, everything that you die of, typhus and whatever.
Yeah, or dysentery.
Yeah. No, we'll be fine. It's just the high-speed internet. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
No need for AC or anything. Well, I also have thought about the humidity damaging my laptop or my phone.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
That's so
I have.
stupid.
I truly have. That's been about one of the only things.
You're really weird about your devices. And your guitar, Roberta. He named his guitar.
I did not.
And his first car.
All right.
Which I think is really weird.
Did I name you? No, I met you.
I'm not your belonging.
I met you. I got to know you, and you told me your name. That is what Roberta and Titus did. This
is a really weird
delusion. No, Titus is coming with us to Ecuador, by the way. Roberta stays here. She's too nice. I can't damage my Taylor acoustic electric 514 CE. She's beautiful. She's worth three times what my car is worth.
Is that her model number?
Yes, she is a model. That is correct.
Ugh.
No, but my old Epiphone acoustic electric named Titus, he's coming with us to Ecuador. Mm-hmm. And I might actually leave him there and just gift him to somebody. I don't know.
Will they want him?
Okay.
What's your next question?
Of course.
Move on.
All right, we're almost going to wrap up here. I had something I was
This is going to be your lowest rated episode.
Okay, so on... thank you for your vote of confidence.
And you didn't bring you didn't bring the bottle of wine in here. My glass is empty.
Your cup runneth over. You're married to me. Your glass is never empty. Okay.
Aw.
So are you going to... This is a big surfing place. Are you going to surf?
I've thought about it. I've had this fear for as long as I can remember of deep water. It's the openness of it. And it's so funny that you and I are together because you love the open horizon. You love the beach. It's like home for you.
The beach is freedom.
For me,
infinite horizon,
for me,
I need it.
For me, symbolic home is the woods.
You like to be surrounded.
Well, hold on. It's cozy. Partial views
You're a
of
Norse
the sky.
woman.
Yes, I can't escape it. Partial views of the sky, but I'm closed in by beautiful verdant trees.
And
partially closed in.
Decaying moss and mushrooms.
It's all part of the cycle of life.
No, I mean I think the woods are beautiful. Woods, streams, mountains.
Yeah, but they don't speak to you.
They're not my woods. When I go to the beach, it's my beach. It's
Yeah.
my ocean. It's my horizon. Like that's
And
where
I don't get
live.
it,
That's
but I
home
believe
to me.
you.
Like
Yeah.
all I need to do is go walk on the beach and like everything is right. I get a flood of new ideas.
I know.
For brilliant podcast episodes like this one.
I know.
Everything. It's at the coast, that infinite horizon, and you're just sort of like it's exposed. It's open.
It is.
But you don't hate it. You like it.
No, it's beautiful, but it's like the eye of Sauron. It's too much to behold.
So did I like strong arm you into moving into a coastal city?
No, because I don't care about that kind of thing. I don't care about where we move that much. And I'm lucky
You
that...
just care about the money. As long as you have your giant bottles of Costco wine, you're good to go.
What a horrible thing you're saying.
But
No,
if
I
you
didn't
love-
buy a Costco membership till a year ago.
But you
Let
said
it be
you,
known.
but you said you love the woods. That's home for you.
Yeah.
But you don't care enough to want to like live in the woods.
I think about this though, because I actually feel like I could be pretty happy living in I guess like a mountain town on a mountain lake.
Are you gonna announce that you're leaving me for?
Ah!
I'm kidding. So
No, but the thing is, I don't care as much as you. I just don't care.
yeah. Now you said lake. I could go for that. But
Yeah.
I still feel
You need to be on water.
I feel so landlocked if I'm in a city that's not coastal. Like it just feels.
I think when it comes down to it, I'm pretty particular about all kinds of comfort. But the topography, the landscape just doesn't matter as much to me as it does to you.
Yeah. All right. So when we're in Ecuador,
Yeah.
will you?
Will I surf?
Well, we already said.
I don't know.
Yeah, you say you don't know. What?
Yeah.
Is there a yes or no?
I think I'll try.
All right.
But I'm pretty scared of sharks.
I want you to commit right now that you're gonna surf.
No, I'm not going to commit.
Come on.
No.
This will be an on-air commitment.
No.
This is a New Year's resolution.
No, Isaac Morehouse, I will not commit. You don't owe me.
Shoot, I shouldn't have done that. Now you're not going to serve just because you know I want you to.
Partly. Yeah, partly.
You rebel.
Yep.
That's why I love you. So, what else? Oh, so will you come on? We're wrapping it up, I promise, listeners whose ears are bleeding.
Yes! I'm going for lowest ratings ever.
So, will you, when we're in Ecuador, if I'm able to record some podcast episodes there, will you join me for one from Ecuador and let everyone know how it's going from your standpoint?
Ooh, of course I want to say yes. And I will.
Maybe we can do one in Spanish. I'm sure we'll be fluent.
¿Dónde está el baño?
It's right behind us if you need it.
Thank God. Yes, I will. I
good,
will.
good.
I'll be vulnerable. It's tough.
You heard it here first.
I'll be vulnerable.
All right, so we will do at least one episode from Ecuador sharing our experiences. And hopefully,
Ecuador interwebs.
Hopefully it won't be dengue fever and typhus and
God,
whatever.
that's don't
Typhoid.
say that.
You're the one. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so 2016, a lot in store,
Yeah.
including Ecuador.
And
2015,
who knows what else?
A good year. Let's drink to it. Our glasses.
Yay! They're empty,
They're
but
empty.
we can still
We'll
go.
toast to a new year. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's been a blast doing this podcast this year. I can't wait to jump into a whole lot of new episodes and guests next year. I already have several lined up. And Heather, thanks for joining. You have any final words?
No, but thanks for having me on this lowest ratings ever show.
Are you serious when you say thanks for having me, or is that just like a courtesy?
I'm just being courteous.
Are you kind of ticked that I made you do this?
A little bit.
I didn't make you though. That's not
No,
fair.
you didn't make me, and this is the thing. You've tended to give me a little nudge when I needed it, so it's a mixed bag.
All right. So when this episode blows it up and you become famous, you're welcome. I'll take 5%.
God, you have such an ego.
We should probably go.
But not really.
My mom is actually staying with us, and we just came in here and locked the door. She doesn't.
We're so rude.
She doesn't know what's going on. She's probably out there wandering around looking for food or something, and totally helpless. We're coming, Mom. All right. It's been a great year. Talk to you in 2016.